A Japan national champion has built a team that features regular Altaria and Mega Scizor and was using it in some tournaments. We're going to be trying out this really interesting combination they created and see how well it can perform. This is Slow's Mega Scizor and Altaria team. If you don't know who Slow is, he's a Japan national champion as well as a really high placer in the ranked ladder seasons of Scarlet and Violet. He's finished #1 several times in those seasons, and we're going to be trying out his crazy team and seeing how well it can perform. But first, let's break down the team. So first Pokemon we have is going to be the Citrus Berry Altaria. And you might be wondering, why regular Altaria? We're not even using the Mega Evolution as we're holding that Citrus Berry for recovery. But weather is such a prevalent thing in this metagame with Pokemon like Charizard Y, Tyranitar, Pelipper, Mega Frostlass. There's so much Weather Wars in this format and Pokemon that just take advantage of their weather setting abilities that Altaria is actually kind of nice because it gets access to Cloud 9, an ability that shuts down any weather effects while the Altaria is on the field. So it's actually really cool. That means we don't have to worry about like Solar Beam instant charge, Electroshot instant charge, accurate blizzards, the strong boost that you get with fire and water type moves under sun and rain. It is actually a really cool factor here that can help against these weather teams, which is pretty important when Charizard Y is one of the most common Mega Evolutions in the format. So we have a pretty bulky Altaria and we're using a support option. It did get Will-o-Wisp in one of the most recent generations and it's actually a pretty cool support Pokemon. It gets access to Tailwind for speed control and Will-o-Wisp to be able to burn all the really powerful physical attackers in the format. Think of Kingambit, Basculegion, and Sneasler. You also have Brave Bird, which is a pretty strong physical move. Even though Altaria doesn't have the best physical offense out there, you are still able to threaten the Sneasler with the Brave Bird, and that is pretty key. EV spread on this Altaria is for the maximum HP for the bulk in general, even HP stats, so the Citrus Berry gets consumed by Super Fang. And then we have a lot of attack investments, so the Brave Bird can actually threaten the KO on Sneasler. We also have a good amount of speed in order to be able to outspeed stuff like the Basculegion under the Tailwind, and then also speed creep that just in case, or the Scarf Basculegion. And then just physical defense because you want Altaria to be able to take those physical attacks well, especially like again Basculegion, Sneasler, Kingambit, all those physical attackers. Even after burn, like you still want to be able to take those attacks relatively solid. So let's see if Cloud9 Altaria will be able to do work, especially with the rest of the partners. And next partner we have is going to be this Basculegion here, and this Basculegion of course is going to be nice because it is going to be able to help threaten the Charizard because the Cloud9 will shut down the sun effects from weakening the power of Basculegion water type moves while the Charizard Y is out, and still able to threaten a good amount of damage with Wave Crash and Aqua Jet. As you can see, we run a lot of physical defense on the Basculegion. This can live like Kowtow Cleave and Sucker Punch from the Kingambits out there, and really able to threaten a lot. And because we're running Adamant Nature, because we're not running like a Choice Scarf, we are still going to be able to get a good amount of attack investment with the jump point in the attack with the 18 stat points. And then the remainder is going to be for speed. This is just going to be 1 point faster than the Altaria because you don't want a speed tie, and it's still able to outspeed a lot of stuff under the Tailwind, again, especially like those base 135s, as well as Choice Scarf Basculegion, which is nice. So able to threaten a lot of damage with the Last Respect, Wave Crash, Aqua Jet, Mystic Water powering up those water type moves. Adaptability makes it hit really hard. It's a strong Pokemon, what to say. Next Pokemon we have is going to be a Choice Scarf Garchomp, and Choice Scarf Garchomp is just such a strong attacker, being able to outspeed Pokemon like that Mega Gengar, the base 135s in general, and able to help out against opposing Charizard and multiple other Pokemon. So we have this Choice Scarf Garchomp with maximum attack damage output, which is nice, and then we have quite a bit of speed. This allows you to outspeed Mega Aerodactyl with the Choice Scarf, and also like a few points above it for those Pokemon that speed creep and threaten the Mega Aerodactyl. You are able to outspeed, for instance, Choice Scarf Rotoms, I believe, guaranteed, as well as the Choice Scarf Hydreigons with the speed stats. So those are options, and the rest are going to remain into bulk, whilst underspeeding the Choice Scarf Garchomps on their side, because you'd actually be able to find out that information if so. You have Breaking Swipe, which is an interesting dragon type attack. It's really weak, but it is a spread dragon type move that is able to lower the attack on your opponent's side by 1 stage, which is cool, which makes for some cool defensive plays against like the Scarpasky Legions, and more. You also have Rock Tomb, which is a single target rock type move. It's a bit weak, but it does lower the speed by 1 stage, which is nice, but it's more powerful than Rock Slide and allows you to play around wide guard stuff with Charizard. So it's a bit stronger than a spread Rock Slide, which is also like what a lot of Charizards have been EVing for. So Adamant Rock Tomb is usually able to KO most Charizards in a lot of scenarios. Then we have the super strong ground type moves with Earthquake and Stomping Tantrum. And yeah, this is a pretty classic Garchomp, a Choice Scarf able to allow it to outspeed a lot of threats and threats some pretty heavy damage. Next Pokemon we have is going to be Mega Scizor, the only Mega Evolution on this team, and it's a pretty classic Scizor. It gets some pretty good bulk and attack once it does Mega Evolve, and with a Sword Stance on the Mega Scizor is able to dish out a ton with that Bullet Punch as well as the Bug Bite. And of course that Technician is going to power up both of the Bullet Punch and Bug Bite damage by 50%. So going to be really powerful. Just a simple max HP, max attack Scizor, just tanks the attacks and utilizes the priority. Not too surprising, it's really going to be super threatening, and we have seen Mega Scizor do pretty well in this format. Even though Charizard Y is pretty common, Mega Floette is also pretty common, and then there are a lot of fairy types that you do want to threaten, especially when you are running like double dragons. You're going to need to threaten those fairy types. Mega Scizor are going to be the perfect Mega Evolution for this choice, and the Steelmon that threatens those fairies with the priority Bullet Punch. Next Pokemon we have is going to be the Fairy Feather Sylveon, and it is able to power up its fairy type moves, especially with that Pixelate, which turns its normal type moves into fairy type moves and gives it a little extra boost of power. We have Hyper Voice, that's a strong fairy type attack that is spread, which is solid, with that quick attack for the priority, which also gets the Pixelate boost and can be useful for cleaning up some weakened mons. You have Yawn, which is a great disruptive move because it does force the opponent usually to switch out or be forced to go to sleep, which is actually really nice for positioning. And then Protect to keep itself around. EV Spread on the Sylveon allows it to live Dire Claw with a lot of HP and a good amount of physical defense. You have a lot of special attack with the Jump Point and the high special attack stat that Sylveon does have access to, as well as a high special defense. And then the rest is going to go into speed. This allows you to outspeed the Garchomps under the Tailwind. So that is what the Sylveon is able to do. Really strong for Fairy type, especially if you do have Tailwind, and does complement the Altaria as well, because the Altaria can go for Will-o-Wisp support to help with Sylveon's weaker physical defense side, while Sylveon has just really high natural special defense that's really going to be able to take attacks pretty well after those Will-o-Wisp or those Breaking Swipe drops. Final Pokemon on this team is going to be the Heliolisk, and this Heliolisk is going to be the Modest Nature with a Focus Sash to keep itself around, with Protect, Focus Blast, Ally Switch, and Thunderbolt. So Heliolisk is definitely an interesting mod. It gets the normal and electric type, which is really good with dry skin that is just able to be immune to every single Basculegion, basically. Every single male Basculegion will not be able to hit the Heliolisk. So it pretty much just auto wins against Basculegion. It's also pretty good damage output with Thunderbolt with the Modest Nature is able to actually hit pretty hard. And then you got like Focus Blast and Ally Switch's text. Focus Blast because this team really doesn't have the best ways to hit the steel types in general other than the Garchomp, so having Focus Blast to be able to hit especially Archaludon, which is a big one, as well as some King Gambits if you need to cheese them. And that, again, the King Gambit plus the Basculegion matchup, having that Focus Blast is nice. Ally Switch also can be really good for being able to have a mind game against the Basculegion, because you can Ally Switch and take a Water type move or the Last Respect be immune to it as the other Pokemon attacks is solid. And yeah, the only interesting part is it's Modest Heliolisk over Timid. I guess the extra special attack damage output is nice, although this does mean that the Heliolisk will underspeed quite a bit of Pokemon, like the base 100s, like the Charizard, for instance, which does make it weaker in that scenario, but that is a thing you do have to consider. So how to use the team? Well, there's quite a few different ways that you can play with this team. Either you can just go for straight damage right away. You could go for support with Altaria, getting speed control, and then the Will-o-Wisp burns on the physical attackers to slowly wear them down to clean up in the end game with your strong attackers. Or you could try to set up Mega Scizor against some teams, which is able to dominate, especially a lot of the Mega Floette teams actually don't run fire types, which is really good because Mega Scizor can absolutely destroy those kinds of teams, which is very solid. And there are a few ways to pair it up. So I'd say a lot of the common plans that you could go for here. Garchomp is a pretty good lead thanks to his Choice Scarf being able to outspeed a lot of threats, especially like the Charizard Ys, and you could go for Rock Tomb, a move that is a little bit more powerful than the Spread Rock Slide, and with the Adamant Max attack, you can threaten the Charizards and usually knock them out with that single target Rock Tomb. You can pair that up with the Scizor, so it can go for Swords Dance immediately, which is pretty solid. And then you also have like other coverage that you can go for with the Garchomp. Breaking Swipe to lower the attack is pretty great as well. Another lead that you could go for is going to be the Garchomp plus Altaria, because Double Dragon isn't too bad if they don't have one of the Spread Fairy coverage options. And you could go for like a really powerful Earthquake or Breaking Swipe, get a Will-o-Wisp off, a Tailwind immediately with Altaria. You have quite a few options there. You also have more control with like Sylveon that can lead, because Sylveon can lead with a lot of these Pokemon, and just go for a Yawn immediately. Being able to get a Yawn in 4 switches or just go for strong damage with Hyper Voice can be really great in some scenarios. You could lead it with Garchomp for the Breaking Swipe. You could pair it up with the Altaria, because you could go for like a Tailwind Yawn or Tailwind Hyper Voice for the immediate damage output, which can be pretty solid as well. And the Altaria plus Basculegion is also another great lead, because of the fact that Basculegion doesn't have to worry about the Charizard and Under the Sun, because of the Altaria's Cloud 9, negating the option for Solar Beam to happen in Basculegion, and then you can threaten it with Wave Crash. You can also go with Basculegion plus Scizor, which is also not a bad lead, because you do have double priority as an option with Aqua Jet plus Bullet Punch, which can be really strong and get some surprise knockouts into like Sashmons or Sneasel as well. It's pretty effective there. I'd say Heliolisk generally probably wants to be in the back unless it's against a Blastoise team, because then you can actually threaten the Blastoise with the Thunderbolt option. Although you can also keep Heliolisk in the back to be able to switch into the Water Spouts and not lose the Sash to a potential Fake Out. If you'd like to check out the details of the team and the creator, I'll link them down below in the description. But otherwise, if you do want to try out the team, there is a replica code on the screen. And let's get started and play some games and try out this Altaria Fury with Mega Scizor. Alright, we have Charizard, Meowscarada, Milotic, Garchomp, Incineroar, and Aegislash. Curious if this is going to be Charizard X or Charizard Y. It could be either. But I should still bring Altaria, because if Charizard Y, it is kind of a big threat to the team in general. So how do I want to perform here? Because Sylveon's pretty good. So is Garchomp. They're all really solid mons here in general. Milotic isn't, or Heliolisk isn't too bad to be able to handle the Milotic, but it's not really great into anything else. Maybe Charizard, but that's really it. I'm thinking maybe just go with a Sylveon lead. Sylveon plus Basculegion seems pretty solid to me for the most part. Yeah, I do like Sylveon plus the Basculegion, because Sylveon just threatens a lot of damage. So does Basculegion immediately, other than against the Aegislash. I think Altaria is pretty nice to be able to shut down a Weather if it is going to be the Charizard Y. Then final Mon, this is where it gets confusing, because I don't know if it's Garchomp or if it's going to be the Scizor. I'm thinking it's probably going to be Garchomp, because it's more effective into my opponent's team. The ground coverage is just generally good. Scizor is better just for priority stuff, but I think this isn't too bad. Let's see what my opponent decides to go here. Heliolisk unfortunately just didn't really do too much other than into Milotic, and then I think this is the best line, because Sylveon's generally pretty safe other than into Aegislash for the most part, and it should be a safe switch Altaria for most cases. Okay, they lead Meowscarada plus a Charizard, which is fine, as I lead Basculegion plus Sylveon. So this isn't like the greatest lead, but I think this is still pretty acceptable. I'm going to go for a Hyper Voice immediately to get damage off into Meowscarada, I think, and protect the Basculegion. There's a lot of things that could happen here. I wish I let Garchomp now, because Garchomp could have just like clicked Rock Slide here, unless it's Scarf Meowscarada, which maybe it is here. This could be, I think the line here is probably to either double protect here to scalp for what they're locking into and also see a Mega Evolution, or it's just Hyper Voice. But I think the play is probably just a double protect and scalp for what they're going to lock into. Okay, it is Charizard Y. I want to know if it's Charizard Y or Charizard X, because that was going to be heavily dependent on what I would play the next turn potentially. Okay, so we do see the Mega on the Charizard. These Pokemon don't usually have setup moves, so I don't really have to worry about setup moves for the most part. They really don't get access to anything. Charizard lost Tailwind in prior gens, so we will double protect here just to scalp. They do know that I'm not Scarf Basculegion if they don't know the team. Flower Trick going to go out into, okay, it's Protean. Going to go out into Sylveon, which makes sense. And it's going to be Heat Wave. Okay. I'm a bit worried about the damage output that they have. I could double swap here, which isn't too bad, but how much am I taking from Flower Trick from both sides? I mean, if I expect them to go for the same targets, I could go for Altaria into the Basculegion slot and go for Wave Crash, but I don't think that's really realistic here. I think that these Pokemon are just generally good, so I think my play here is to probably double switch. It's probably safer, because Flower Trick plus Heat Wave, even with Altaria's Cloud 9 negating the Sun, would probably do a bit too much damage, so my lead wasn't that great here, unfortunately. I will lead the Garchomp, and I will lead the Altaria. Granted, this could have been Scarf Meowscarada, and I would have been fearing triple Axle potential. But let's see. Bring out the Altaria. Cloud 9 is active. Flower Trick. Is this Basket Legion? So I might have gotten the call wrong. Yeah, it is. Okay. But we shouldn't go down to Heat Wave because it's not in Sun because of the Cloud 9. Heat Wave, Dodge would be nice. Garchomp dodging is nice because I don't know if this is Sucker Punch Meowscarada, but that is huge. Okay, I'll definitely take it. Now I can pretty much just get a free Rock Slide off, especially, well, unless it's Scarf Meowscarada, we don't know. I think my best play is just to Brave Bird to Meowscarada and get rid of it quickly, and we're going to go for Rock Tomb into the Charizard, because if they think Meowscarada is faster than Garchomp, then they probably go for this slot. Yeah. I think we go for the Rock Tomb here into the Charizard. They do retreat to Charizard. This is Milotic or Incineroar makes sense. Okay. I don't hate this spot. Let's see what the Meowscarada. It is Scarf. Okay, good to confirm. So that's actually really good to confirm. So Garchomp goes down, which is fine. And now I'm going to be able to get in Sylveon next to the Altaria. And that's not like a terrible position, but this is still not ideal. Brave Bird does do a good amount of damage. I think Meowscarada is in range of Quick Attack, so that's going to be something that's nice. I think here I just go out into Sylveon. Probably Protect and just Brave Bird the Instant for damage, because I do want damage into the Instant slot. Because the worst they could do is like fake out Flower Trick, or they could go for swap out the Meowscarada, but I think that's okay here. I do need damage in the Instant, so yeah, they are going to fake out probably and go for the Flower Trick, which is good for me. Oh, they fake out the Altaria, which I'm a bit surprised by, but I'll take it. Okay. I wonder if they're going to give me the Meowscarada. At this point, they might, but if they do give me Meowscarada, if I get rid of Meowscarada, this is not bad for my Basket Legion endgame. Yeah, because my Basket Legion endgame is actually really solid here. So I think now we need the Tailwind up for sure, and I'm going to go for a Hyper Voice. Yeah. I need as much damage as I possibly can into these Pokemon. Flower Trick, Flare Blitz could be coming out. If they go for Parting Shot, that's all right. Sylveon takes that decently okay. And we do get the Tailwind up. So Sylveon will definitely outspeed the Instant and then Hyper Voice KO the Meowscarada, which is nice. Yeah, goodbye Meowscarada. That Incineroar is probably really especially defensive. It took that really, really well. Darkest Lariat into Altaria. Ah, they're trying to get rid of Altaria for the Charizard to do a bit more work, but that's really acceptable. I do not mind that. Okay. Aegislash is the last, is not surprising, but I think this works out pretty well for me. I think I can go for a Protect with Altaria, and I can just go for a Yawn into the Aegislash. Do I go for the Yawn in the Aegislash? I could go for a Wisp. Or I could go for Hyper Voice. Hyper Voice also works. So I'm trying to figure out, because I think Sylveon's likely to go down this turn. The question is, how do I set up Basket Legion to be in the best spot possible? And I think the play here is to go for a Yawn into the Aegislash, but it might be just Hyper Voice so I don't take as much recoil from the Instant. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to go for Hyper Voice and protect the Altaria because I want to save Altaria because it's really important at this rate. So I have the Cloud 9 shutting down the Charizard from being able to Solar Beam my Basket Legion. Okay, stance change. This has to be attacking the Sylveon most likely. Yep, Poltergeist. So Sylveon goes down, and now I think I'm in a pretty okay spot here. As Darkest Lariat comes out again, not too surprising. I think Instant has to stay in. Because if I Wave Crash, then the Charizard goes down. So I think I could get an Aqua Jet KO into the Instant. And now let's hit the Will-o-Wisp into the Aegislash so we live a Poltergeist. So let's go for that Aqua Jet. And let's go for a Will-o-Wisp. I don't know if Aegislash goes for King Shield. That's also another option. But Wisp also goes through the King Shield. But also covers if they attack here, which is nice. Okay. I do get the Aqua Jet. I do KO the Instant. Nice. The last turns are going to be the concerning part. Oh, they Shadow Sneak instead, which does less damage. Okay. Perfect. And I get the Wisp off into the Aegis Slash. Nice. So we get the burn on Aegis Slash. That's huge because that prevents the Aegis Slash from being able to do as much damage now. Now I think I'm in a really good spot to be able to win this game potentially. So Charizard's going to come in. We still have one more turn of Tailwind. Yeah, now I think it might be a target call, but right now it's not. It's looking pretty good here. I think this turn I would always want to protect my Altaria. The question is, what am I doing with Basculegion? Am I going for the Wave Crash? Am I going for the Last Respect? Those are all really good questions here. They could go for 2 attacks. They could protect. I think they kind of have to get a target right because if I get a KO here, it's really bad for them. I'm thinking of going for the Last Respect into Aegis Slash to take the knockout. And you know what? I am going to go for the Last Respect into Aegis Slash. Ideally, I get the knockout into Aegis Slash, but we'll see. Protect from Altaria. They did go for Shadow Sneak instead, but I don't think Shadow Sneak burned with an attack from the Charizard will knock out the Basculegion. And then I think I have a pretty good line to clean it up. So if they did double attack, as long as it wasn't... I'm pretty sure I'll live any attack from the Charizard. It can't be Weather Ball, and I'll live Heat Wave because there's no Sun Up. Because of Cloud9 negating the Sun's effect being active. Unless I get burned. You can't be serious. You can't be serious. Oh my goodness. My luck today. Fun fact, the first game I tried with this team, I got Dire Claw parried. And if I didn't get Dire Claw parried, like on the first Dire Claw, I literally was in a really good spot. Now it's... this game sometimes. Tailwind petered out. Do I have an out? I just need a Brave Bird crit realistically. There's no other out. That's just so silly, man. I can't protect... Like, I would have just protected, went for Tailwind, and as long as there was no Air Slash, and if there's Air Slash and just don't flinch or crit me, I'm good. But that's ridiculous. I need Brave Bird crit from Altaria. Altaria, can you clutch up? Can you clutch up and just KO the Charizard for the burn here? Can we make up for the burn with the crit? Nope. Crit with a KO too. We were intimidated. Unless we dodge a Heat Wave. Maybe if we dodge a Heat Wave, but I think Weather Ball KOs me, so this is Weather Ball. This should always be Weather Ball. If they Heat Wave, they deserve to miss. They do deserve to miss if they go for anything other than Weather Ball. Yeah. Man. Basculegion, Altaria gave you the best position possible, and you still fumbled it. That is Pokemon, though. Unlucky. Unlucky. But this is the game we do play sometimes. Alright, we have Charizard, Incineroar, Corviknight, Sinistcha, the Eternal Flood, and Garchomp. Alright, this is going to be spooky. We're going to need to use Mega Scizor here. Dealing with the Corviknight's not easy either. Oh, this is going to be not a great one here. So I do want to bring Scizor, and I do want to bring Sylveon, I think, for the most part. Garchomp's not bad, but I don't know. It's a bit tough to say. Like, Garchomp can definitely put in work. Sylveon's pretty good against most things because it has the high special defense to be able to tank attacks pretty well. Am I bringing Basculegion into this? Last Respect is pretty good. I want to bring Heliolisk just for the Corviknight and the Charizard, but at the same time, I don't think it's like the right mod at all here. I think I'm just going to have to forego it. I think my best combo... I think is probably Sylveon plus the Scizor, because Sylveon has really good special defense to be able to tank on most of these mons, and then I like Scizor because it's able to threaten the Flood immediately. If they lead Charizard, it's not like too bad. I could always pivot into Altaria with the Cloud9 to shut down the Sun, and then I think back Pokemon's Basculegion. Let's see. I know I'm not bringing Garchomp, which is probably one of my better answers to Charizard, but Basculegion under the Tailwind with Cloud9 is also a decent answer, and I don't really like my Heliolisk here because I have to play way too hard. Like, there's so much I have to set up with Heliolisk, and we do see Eternal Flood, so okay, that's fine. Sylveon's in a good position. Okay, I think in this spot, I'm actually just going to go for a hyper... I could double protect here, but if this is called Mind Flow, I lose a lot of momentum. There's a chance that my opponent goes for a Flare Blitz in the Scizor, which is also fine. They take a bunch of recoil. I think my best play is just to get a Hyper Voice off, because Hyper Voice will do so much damage with the Fairy Aura if they Mega Evolve. And I don't mind going for the Sword Stance here, because if they fake out Sylveon, I'm in a good spot with Mega Scizor. They actually retreat Flow it, which is fine, into the Corviknight. So, I mean, Corviknight's taking a decent amount of damage, which is acceptable. And if they don't Flare Blitz my Scizor immediately, my Scizor gets to kind of wreak havoc here. So I don't think this is that bad. Let's see what they decide to go for, though. Yeah, they're not going to Flare Blitz. They're either going to Parting Shot or they're going to... Or they're not going to Fake Out. They're going to Flare Blitz or they're going to Parting Shot. They Parting Shot immediately. Okay, yeah. See, if they play passive like this, because the Scizor Protect can be obvious, but even if I lose Scizor, I don't even think it was too bad, because I was still able to get a lot of damage in either Eternal Floette or Incin. But Sinistra coming in is an interesting one here. Okay. So Altaria is the least useful member here. I do get a Hyper Voice for not bad damage for a -1 Hyper Voice. Okay. Corviknight having lefties. Is this bulk up Corviknight is a good question. But I think my best play is just to get Altaria in. Reset the stat drops on Sylveon. And go for another Sword Stance, because Incin could definitely come in again for the Sinistra slot. Yeah. Because Sylveon's not like heavily threatened, so I think Incineroar coming in makes a lot of sense here. They get Intimidate off, but I am able to get my Altaria in, and then next turn I can get a Tailwind up, which would be nice. If they go for Tailwind, we can match Tailwind. So I think Altaria's in a pretty good spot. We can also burn the Corviknight. It is bulk up though. Okay. That's not too surprising to me. I'm just going to go for... Do I think my Scizor outspeeds the Incineroar? Well, actually, did I get Sword Stance up before? I think they moved first, right? I'm like pretty sure they moved first. I think they did. My Altaria is faster than Scizor, so I guess my best play is just to Tailwind and go for a Bug Bite. The only problem is dealing with the Corviknight is going to be really rough. I don't have ways to break through it quickly. Alright, they give me the Tailwind here, and then this is +2 max attack Technician Bug Bite. This might just KO Incineroar. Yeah. It just Okos the Incineroar. Fantastic. Okay. Is this Brave Bird or are they bulking up again? Get to heal with Citrus Berry, I guess. Bulk up again. Okay, perfect. Leftovers, but that's fine. Just dealing with the Corviknight in the end game is going to be annoying. Oh, they forfeit. Mega Scizor. Mega Scizor. I'm actually surprised. I guess I didn't reveal Bass, so they don't know what I have in the bag, but that's still a surprising forfeit in my opinion. Alright, we see Charizard, Eternal Floette, Garchomp, King Gambit, the Basculegion, and the Aerodactyl. Okay, this is interesting. What do I want to go here? They don't have Intimidate, which is really nice. Garchomp Scizor could be a really, really good lead. And I do like Scizor Garchomp a lot here. Sylveon's also nice because it puts on a lot of pressure with Hyper Voice. Do I need it though? I don't think I need it. I wonder if they would be scared of bringing the Basculegion just because I have to Heliolisk, because the Heliolisk is actually kind of threatening to them as well. Oh man, there's so many different options. I think I go with Garchomp lead. I think Garchomp Scizor is really effective here for the most part. And then I think I like Altaria Basculegion back. Heliolisk would only be good for the Basculegion, and I guess the Charizard, but it's not really worth it. I like Scizor to pressure the Floette, and Charizard threatens the Garchomp threatens the Charizard immediately, which is really nice, because Rock Tomb is really solid against this team for the most part. And then I think endgame Tailwind plus Basculegion would be really great for a cleanup here, especially just having Wisp for all the physical attackers is really nice. So let's see what my opponent decides to go for. Aerodactyl Garchomp, that's fine. Okay. So I actually really like this lead for me because I can go for a Breaking Swipe and lower the attack damage output of these Pokemon and Mega Evolve, and then I can get my Scizor in a really nice spot where I break into Sash on Aerodactyl and I can get a Sword Stance up. I guess the only question is it Scarf Garchomp that's faster than my Garchomp? But right now, I don't mind going for a Breaking Swipe plus Sword Stance. I'm in such a fantastic spot with Scizor because Mega Scizor has a really good defense. Okay, we do get the Breaking Swipe, which is huge. And look at that damage. Now they're both in range of +2 Bullet Punch here. Okay. Tailwind comes out from Aerodactyl. That's not too surprising. And Earthquake, but this doesn't do too much damage. Okay, perfect. Actually still did a decent amount to the Scizor, but that's fine. We do get a Swords Dance up with our Scizor. Now, I think my best play is probably just to get Altaria in. And I do want to protect here. I might take a Rock Slide with Altaria. I don't think they're going to rock. Would they Dragon Claw that slot? Maybe. But I do think they sack both of these Pokemon here. They're not going to switch because Bullet Punch does too much damage to Charizard. So I think I go Altaria and I try to get Tailwind up set up myself while I can. Because I can stack the Tailwind, so I have the speed advantage against the Charizard for Basculegion to come in potentially. Wide Guard. Oh, to cover for the Breaking Swipe. Then they're targeting the Scizor with Earthquake, I assume, again? Oh, Dragon Claw again. Okay, that's fine. My Altaria eats this really well. And I do like the... Unfortunately, I don't get the Citrus Berry because of a nerve. But if I KO the Aerodactyl right now, I do get the access to Tailwind. And I don't think they ever protect. Well, it's really unlikely they protect anyway because of the Wide Guard. So they would have to go for Protect and get a double because they used Wide Guard previous turn. I think I just like the idea of just setting up a Tailwind and going for the Bullet Punch. They actually protect Garchomp, which is the best case scenario. So I get a free Tailwind up and I don't have to worry about like Dragon Claw crit or Rock Slide flinch. So Bullet Punch comes out, knocks out the Aerodactyl because I know that thing's pretty much always clicking Rock Slide in this position. So I get rid of the Aerodactyl. They don't want to switch in Charizard on a Bullet Punch because they might just go down to Bullet Punch again. So that's why they're always super scared of playing this. And now I get Tailwind up with my Altaria. And now the question is, do they have Charizard in back? I feel like they need an answer for Scizor, but they might have brought both Megas, which means I do need the Scizor around. Oh, wait, what? They brought Float in. What? I don't know why they brought Float in. So last turn Tailwind for them so I can just double protect on this Tailwind and then get a Wisp situation off. Yes. They could switch out the Garchomp and protect the Float, I guess, if they have something in the back that they think could affect it here. But I don't know why you would ever bring Float in this position. Like, what's your final mon that you're like, okay, Float is my best bet. I'm +2 so I can threaten Bullet Punch KO. Like, I just don't get the Float. Okay. We will double protect because it's the last turn of Tailwind, and then I can go for a Wisp into Garchomp and Bullet Punch the Float. If it's Lumberry Garchomp, it's not that bad for me. It's still -1, but if they are burned, they definitely won't do any damage. Stomping Tantrum into Scizor and Dazzling Gleam. Okay. I don't even think that was knocking out Mega Scizor, so I don't know what their plan is. They gotta respect the Scizor. Is it Basculegion back? Tailwind peers out for their side. I always get a free Will-o-Wisp into the Garchomp slot and a Bullet Punch into Float. Then next turn I can go for a Bullet Punch Wisp into the Float slot to pin that slot. Because all their switches just go down to Bullet Punch Wisp. They protect here, but the Garchomp's not about to do much here. Unless I missed a Wisp or it's Lumberry and they crit me. I do land a Wisp, which is nice. So the Garchomp is burned. Lumberry? Not Lumberry. Dragon Claw? Does nothing. Does nothing. Now we can go for a Wisp plus Bullet Punch into the Float because their switches to Bullet Punch are King Gambit and Basculegion. If it's Charizard, they take way too much damage because then they'll be put in range of Bullet Punch plus Aqua Jet. So yeah, we always go for Bullet Punch. Even then, I'm kind of surprised they brought Float and not Charizard, if this is the case, because I feel like they needed Charizard to break through the Scizor. And yeah, we see Basculegion here, and that's exactly why Wisp covered this slot. So I get the Bullet Punch off into Bass. That does so much damage, actually. I could just Brave Bird it, but this works out pretty well. Well, if I hit the Wisp, but that's all right. Stomping. I gotta be careful because I can technically still lose to the Float, but granted, like, this is still a pretty reasonable spot here. Because I can go for a Tailwind with my Altaria. Actually, no, I go for Brave Bird. Actually, do I? If they protect and I Brave Bird, I do lose. They're never protecting, though. They have to attack one of these slots. They can't let me get Tailwind up with my Altaria, if that's the case. Or they can't let the Scizor run too rampant here. So I think it's really likely that they just go for a Last Respect into one of these slots here. And that's fine by me. If I can get in Scarf Garchomp, I can Breaking Swipe plus Bullet Punch the Basculegion, and that would just win the game. So that's fine by me. So let's see what they decide to go for. I said Protect Scizor. Even if they, again, double into the Altaria, that's fine. They go for the Wave Crash into the Scizor. Perfect. Dragon Claw is not going to KO the Altaria. Even a crit wouldn't KO. And I do get the Brave Bird off into the Basque. I don't think it's citrus. It's not really bulky. Yeah, it's not bulky at all. So now I have a pretty safe play here the upcoming turn. And yeah, they kind of realize they just don't beat the Mega Scizor at this point. And they do forfeit. So nice. Pretty good position for me, as I was able to just set up Scizor. They didn't bring anything for Scizor, unironically. All right, we have Blastoise for Rigorath, Sneasler, Sinisha, King Gambit, and the Typhlosion. This is a really annoying matchup because it's just Armor Tail mind games with whether they lead Blastoise or they lead for the Typhlosion immediately and have like Scarf Eruption. I think my best lead probably to counteract this is probably Garchomp Scizor for the most part. I think Garchomp Scizor is pretty good here. The question is, what am I bringing the back? Is it Sylveon plus Heliolisk? It might be. I don't really like the Basculegion in this game because of the King Gambit and the Sinisha. While the Altaria is like, it's actually pretty decent. But I don't think I need it because I need more offensive pressure, I think, in this game. Sylveon has good special defense for most of this team. And then I want to make sure I have a switch into Water Spout if this is like some Shell Smash angle with Sneasler plus the Blastoise. So I'm covering for that angle as well. There's like a lot to consider when playing this kind of team. Whereas the Typhlosion for Rigorath, so this makes sense here. Okay. So what's nice is I'm Scarf Garchomp, but the question is, are they timid Scarf Typhlosion or are they modest Scarf Typhlosion? I don't know. But I think I have to gamble anyway. I'm going to go for Stomping Tantrum and I'm going to go for Bug Bite. And if they're timid, GG. I think that's my hope here. I can protect a Scizor in that case, but then I think I get swept by Blastoise Water Spout under Trick Room. This might actually be their plan too. Is like lead a Scarf Typhlosion, have an Eruption Pressure, and then go for a Trick Room so they set up a Blastoise. Yeah. Well, I did warn people. I did warn them. So it is timid Scarf Typhlosion, unfortunately. So I lose Scizor. If I protect it, I'm in an okay spot, but even then, it's like not great. As we get Stomping Tantrum off and KO the Typhlosion. Okay. Trick Room goes up. I mean, this is still playable. It's not a great spot at all, but like it's a playable spot, I suppose. This is either Gambit or Blastoise coming in. Like I was like, okay, do they run Timid or do they run Modest? Because I'm pretty sure with Modest you can still outspeed Scarf Basculegion. So I wasn't sure if they needed to go Timid, but they did go Timid. Sylveon in versus the Blastoise. Yep. This is Water Spout plus something like Rain Dance, Helping Hand, etc. I think my best place is switch out to Garchomp and the Heliolisk and probably just get a Hyper Voice off. Because I need to reduce the damage that Sylveon's taking. Assuming I'm slower, this could be Minspeed Blastoise. So Heliolisk in. Although we'll see. I'm not really that fast with my Sylveon, so I think I underspeed Blastoise, but we'll see here. Rain Dance is up, okay. And I do get the Hyper Voice off at least before, which is good. Okay. So this is Water Spout. We should tank it fine. Heliolisk, Dry Skin. Sylveon takes it pretty well. Okay. So it's a winnable game. Again, it's a winnable, yet it's still not a great situation. I think I just protect Heliolisk and I Hyper Voice here because there's a decent chance they go for a double up in the Heliolisk. Because I could protect Sylveon and Thunderbolt the Blastoise. This could be a mind game as well. So let's see. I'm going to protect Heliolisk and see if this is a double up. Ideally, this is a double up, but we'll see. They twin beam the Heliolisk. Okay. I get another Hyper Voice off. Really good damage. I crit the Furgraph, which is nice. Although I don't think it changes any calcs here. Perfect. Perfect. Now I have the option to go for Thunderbolt plus a Hyper Voice again, and they can't KO either of my Pokemon, so unless the Blastoise is helping hand, I should be fine, because I'll live Twin Beam from the Furgraph. Okay, not terrible. They do Twin Beam again, but I should live easily. Yeah, like I take that really well. Perfect. And Hyper Voice. All right. So this is actually playable. I'm surprised that I mean, I did know I probably had to make a right call eventually, but you know what? I did make the right call. They were fearful of the Heliolisk, and I got them on that read. Dry Skin also healing the HP on the Heliolisk is nice. This should be Gambit as the last. Yeah. Supreme Overlord. Yep, that's a classic tech. How many turns of Trick Room? Last turn Trick Room. I think in order to guarantee this game, I need to Yawn off probably into the Gambit. So I'm actually going to go for Ally Switch Yawn because this covers... Unless they read the Ally Switch, I get to Ally Switch with Heliolisk, which covers the Dark move on Heliolisk, but it covers the Steel move on Sylveon. I get to Yawn off, I can double protect, and then I can spam attacks. Yeah. Nice. So I get a Yawn off. And I don't think they run Lumberry King Gambit. I don't think Lumberry King Gambit's a thing at all. So now I can just double protect. And now I'm in a pretty good spot, especially to Dry Skin's healing the Heliolisk a lot. Do I gain back the Focus Sash? Battle's going to be forfeit. So even though it was an awful turn one, I could have probably easily have won if I just protected on the turn one. All right, we have Charizard, Whimsicott, Farigiraf, Sneasler, King Gambit, and Garchomp. I really like Altaria in this. Altaria is really good here. Garchomp, Altaria is a pretty okay lead. Yeah, puts on a lot of offensive pressure. I definitely like Basket Legion in back. I guess the question is, am I bringing Sylveon? Am I bringing Scizor? Or am I bringing Heliolisk? I don't really like Heliolisk because it only really beats the Charizard. I like the Garchomp plus Altaria lead because I think it's a pretty good lead at pressuring a lot of my opponent's team because Earthquake Brave Bird or Rock Tomb Brave Bird pretty much gets a lot of the Pokemon on my opponent's side. The question is, am I going Scizor, which is probably better in it's better into like a lot of the King Gambit. It's also better in the Farigiraf, but Sylveon does take attacks pretty well as well. Tough one. I think I'm going to go with Scizor. I'm going to try out Scizor. I think Scizor is good here too. I don't know if the King Gambit's Iron Head or Low Kick on this team. If it's Iron Head, it makes the Scizor stronger here, but we'll see. I also think I could clean up weakened Pokemon with Bullet Punch potentially in the end game, so this would work out pretty well. Scizor King Gambit, this is a really good lead for me. As I lead Garchomp Altaria. Unless they know the team and know it's Choice Scarf Garchomp, I can Earthquake Will-o-Wisp the King Gambit slot very safely here, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go for Will-o-Wisp and Earthquake. If they go Charizard and Protect, that's okay as well. I can go Basket Legion and Protect Altaria, and then I threaten heavy damage with Basket Legion. So, yeah, if they switch out King Gambit into Charizard... No, Whimsicott. Okay, that's fine. Okay, they Protect. So they give me a pretty decent Earthquake into their team, and then I can Earthquake Brave Bird, or I could Earthquake Tailwind. Both are reasonable here. Yeah, good damage on the Whimsicott. And I do get a Wisp off. Okay. I think my best play is just to Brave Bird the Whimsicott and go for a Earthquake again. I don't see a reason not to. They don't know I'm Scarf Garchomp. I don't think they're going to Moonblast. If they do Moonblast, that's fine. I trade Whimsicott for probably a Sneasler and Whimsicott. Unless they're going to switch out to Sneasler, which is fine. But they go for Tailwind, so I get a double knockout here, ideally, which is nice. They Dire Claw, okay. As we get an Earthquake off and a Brave Bird. Ooh, that's a really bulky Sneasler. Really bulky. Okay, so we don't get the Sneasler, but this is still a good position for us as we do get rid of the Whimsicott. Ideally, what would you bring out? Is this Gambit or is this going to be the Charizard? Because here's the thing, Garchomp still has not taken any damage. So if it's Gambit, we click Wisp into the Gambit. If it's Charizard, I think we preserve our Garchomp. Yeah, it's Gambit. So I'm Scarf. I outspeed the Gambit. Yeah, I outspeed the Gambit. So I go for a Will-o-Wisp into the Gambit and I go for Earthquake here. They go for Sucker Punch Close Combat to cover for the Scarf Garchomp. Smart, but even then, that's fine. Because if I get the Wisp off in the Gambit, I'm still in a really great spot. And they're guaranteed to knock out their own Sneasler. So this is still a really good spot if I hit the Wisp. Ideally, I hit the Wisp and I'm just guaranteed a lock here. So Sneasler goes down to the Rough Skin. Nice. Huge Wisp hit into the King Gambit slot. That's so massive. Okay. And now we go out into our Basculegion. And I think we click Protect and Tailwind. Yeah, we click Protect Tailwind. Charizard in. Yeah, we're clicking Tailwind and Protect. We should be safe because I don't think Altaria can go down to an attack unless they have a very niche attack here. So I'm feeling pretty good about this spot. They're going to Protect here? Perfect. Perfect. So I get the Tailwind up and I was scouting for any attacks here in the Basque, but also scouting a potential Protect from the Charizard. This just makes it super safe. They were going for Protect to get a Kowtow into Basque to probably put in Sucker Punch range. But now I have the Tailwind up, so now I outspeed. And Sucker Punch plus a Charizard attack shouldn't get to the Basculegion. I guess I could go for Brave Bird Aqua Jet, which is also another good play. I think Brave Bird Aqua Jet is probably actually safer now that I think about it. The reason I think this is probably safer is because if they get a Sucker Punch crit into Basque or an Air Slash crit or flinch into Basque, that's annoying. I guarantee the damage of Aqua Jet plus Brave Bird, which means I put in range of Bullet Punch from the Scizor if I don't already KO, which I think is actually way worth it. So Charizard going to activate the Drought, Aqua Jet coming out. Oh my goodness, that did way more than I thought actually. They did Sucker Punch, beautiful. And Air Slash. Overheat, okay. Would this have KO'd? I don't think the Sucker Punch would have KO'd, but I mean, this works out beautifully for me. I do get the Brave Bird, and I do get the KO into the Charizard, and now my Scizor wins in the end game. So, perfect. Couldn't have gone any better. So, we get rid of Charizard, and now we can click Aqua Jet infinitely and Brave Bird. I guess we could click Wave Crash, because I do win with my Scizor. So, I could just see, like, hey, does the Sucker Punch actually KO? But yeah, we do win the game, which is solid here. Very nice, Altaria. Very nice. Alright, we have Charizard, Aerodactyl, Farigiraf, King Gambit, Garchomp, and the Eternal Floet. So this matchup is interesting. Farigiraf makes the dynamic very unique here because I do want to bring my priority moves, but dealing with the Charizard can be a little bit tough, though I think it's generally okay. I'm thinking potentially just Garchomp Scizor is a pretty good lead against this kind of stuff for the most part. It's just able to put on a good amount of pressure against the faster mons. And then I think it's just Basculegion plus Altaria. I think we played something similar to this before. I don't remember if this is the exact same 6, but I do kind of like the combination these mons have to bring here. 2 mons to threaten the Charizard, especially with the Cloud9 on the Altaria. Scizor, which you need for the Floet matchup otherwise. Sylveon is actually not a bad mon here. Hyper Voice does threaten a good amount of damage into the King Gambit, to Garchomp, Farigiraf, but I do think that the Scizor carries a bit more weight because of the Bullet Punch priority, assuming I can get rid of Farigiraf, and also just the option to get a threat into the Floet immediately compared to the Sylveon, which also is kind of threatened by that Floet. So let's see what my opponent decides to go here. Gonna be the lead of Aerodactyl Charizard. Okay. So Aerodactyl Charizard's fine versus Scizor plus the Garchomp. Now, I do have a Rock Tomb immediately that I can go for, and I am going to go for Rock Tomb in the Charizard. The question is, what am I doing with my Scizor? I think my best play is probably just to go for a Bullet Punch into the Aerodactyl. I don't really need to set up a Swords Dance as a position. I could have went for Bug Bite, but I think just going for a Bullet Punch is fine. They Mega Ball Charizard, which means they're attacking. So are they Wide Guarding? Are they like no fear on this Garchomp that could have a Rock type move that's not Rock Slide? I don't think Charizard can live max attack Rock Tomb without some serious investment, because Rock Slide is already a bit hard, but Rock Tomb is stronger than Rock Slide because it's single target. They did Wide Guard, so they expected the Rock Slide, but this is not Rock Slide, my friend. This is Rock Tomb. So we get a Bullet Punch off into Aerodactyl, brings it down to Focus Sash. Beautiful. And then this is a Rock Tomb into the Charizard. Nice, we do connect. I am shocked that lived. I guess it's not that bad though. Okay, it's just a Garchomp. If it was the Scizor, that would have been insane. Although Scizor's job is kind of not needed anymore because we were already in a pretty uphill position and we don't have to really worry about the Eternal Flood most likely in the back. So this is still all right. I think I go Altaria here and I just click Rock Tomb and Aerodactyl and I Tailwind here with my Altaria instead of Speed Control, which is really good against my opponent's team. So I am going to just Rock Tomb the Arrow slot, and I don't think Charizard is much of a threat anymore. I think they probably switch out, or maybe they attack sacking it. But here, like, this is my best play to get rid of this Aerodactyl and get Tailwind up. They could switch into King Gambit for Charizard if they expect a Rock Tomb in that slot to try and get the Defiant. Yeah, they switch out. Is this King Gambit? Farigiraf. Okay, that works too. Although they can go for a Trick Room, which is a little bit annoying. Granted, I don't think Charizard's the biggest threat. So we do get rid of our Aerodactyl. We do get rid of the Aerodactyl, and we do get to the Tailwind setup. Okay, I would have probably preferred going for Braber, but this is still fine. I wonder what their last mon is. Probably King Gambit, I assume. But I guess they didn't want to risk potential me catching them with Earthquake because they don't know, again, if I'm Scarf Garchomp or not. And they now know I'm Scarf Garchomp. But before they didn't. So is this King Gambit? It is King Gambit. I'm going to go for the burn and switch into Basculegion. Ooh, Supreme Overlord is always scary. We're going to get a Wisp off ideally into the King Gambit, and we're going to hard switch to Basculegion because we kind of need Garchomp to dish out damage into the King Gambit. I don't really have the best ways of damaging it otherwise, so I need the burn here in the King Gambit to lower the attack, so Basculegion takes the attack. If they protect, this is okay because I can protect and Wisp the next turn, so it's not that bad for me. This is Protect Trick Room. Yep. I guess if I Wisp Farigiraf, because every bit of damage on Farigiraf is nice, but this is still not terrible. So we're going to go for Protect, and we're going to Wisp the Gambit slot. If they switch to Charizard, Charizard's not that threatening damage-wise, so that's alright here. This is probably Kowtow. The question is into Basculegion, or is it into the Altaria? Because they also have to respect Altaria at this rate. They go for Iron Head trying to get a flinch, so that makes sense. We do tank it. They do double smart. Ideally, we got the Wisp off, so we're in okay shape. Nice. That's a huge Wisp hit into the Gambit. I guess the question is what do I want to go for the next couple of turns. I don't think they doubled Altaria again, so I think they're going to target the Gambit with one and probably go for the Psychic with other. I need to stall out 3 turns of Trick Room, ideally. I think here my best play is probably... I'm taking a lot from Kowtow. Well, Kowtow Psychic won't KO, but I'm worried about the recoil. I think I still go for a Wave Crash, though, into the Altaria, and I think I go for a Wisp and Altaria as well. I don't want a Brave Bird recoil, because Brave Bird recoil could be deadly. They go for Iron Head instead, actually, in Altaria. Okay. Did they double with Psychic? No, foul play for Basculegion. Okay. That does a lot. That's acceptable. We land a Wisp. Beautiful. And we do get good damage in a Farigiraf try and put this in range of Earthquake. So I actually like my position. I think my position's fine. I do get a Wave Crash off into the Farigiraf for a lot of damage, actually. Perfect. Citrus Berry, though. Okay. Sunlight fades, but I think that this is an okay spot. Tailwind peters out. I think my best play is to go out into Garchomp for the Bask, and because I think I want Bask for Aqua Jet pressure into the Garchomp in the later parts of the game, and we protect our Altaria. Then we can go for Stomping Tantrum. Ooh, they switch out the Gambit actually into the Charizard. So there should be Psychic into Altaria, or are they going for the Basculegion? Both make sense here. But I think I'm in a really good spot with my Garchomp. Stomping Tantrum's looking really good here. So we protect. Was this Foul Play or Psychic? Psychic into Altaria. So that's best case scenario. So now I'm going to Stomping Tantrum the Farigiraf, and I'm going to go for a Brave Bird into the Charizard. I think this is the right play. Because I can't Earthquake, because if I Earthquake next to my Bask, I lose, guaranteed. I could go for a Double Protect as well, because they're going to Psychic the Altaria slot, I suppose. Actually, I guess Double Protect is probably the best angle here that I have. Because I do think they always Psychic the Altaria. They can't really Psychic the Garchomp slot, I think. Yeah. So I did go for the best play that I had available, but this is still alright. Even if the Charizard gets an attack off, like, it doesn't put me in range of a Sucker Punch. So single target Heat Wave. Yep. That's a bad burn. That's a really bad burn. Oh, that's so bad. Come on, man. That's the second one today. I think I just am in a great spot if I just get a Stomping Tantrum into the Farigiraf. Because here's the thing. I would have knocked out Farigiraf through the burn without the burn. Gambit's forced in. It's still kind of a mind game because the next turn is like, okay, do they double the Garchomp or did they double the Bask? Because they know I'm Scarf Garchomp locked into Stomping, but now I don't even have the Aqua Jet option into the Charizard. So now they can Heat Wave here. I gotta dodge Heat Wave with Garchomp. And then next turn I have to play a mind game against the Gambit, which is not fun. I don't even think I can win against the Gambit realistically. And if they protect, yeah, this is cooked. I think I played pretty well though for the most part. Unfortunately, just you can't get Heat Wave burned with this team, and yeah, Charizard. I mean, here's the thing: you can't get Heat Wave burned with a lot of physical attackers in this format, but it really matters for this one. Now my Garchomp's, yeah, I can't do anything. This game sometimes, man. This game sometimes. It always happens when I use the challenging mons too, but it is Pokemon for you. Really unfortunate. Alright, we have Eternal Floette, Aegis / King Gambit, Delphox, Basculegion, and Sneasler. So, curious which Mega Evolution they pick, but it's probably going to be the Delphox, I imagine. The Delphox is way more likely, I'd assume. Am I bringing my Heliolisk? It's okay. It's not exactly amazing. I still probably need Scizor because if I don't have it, I'm gonna lose to the Floette, so some things I'm gonna have to keep in mind. I think Bask is decent. I actually don't mind Altaria, again, as long as there's no Floette, but I don't think Floette's actually gonna show up here. So I think Altaria probably leads. Maybe it's Altaria Scizor just so I have guaranteed into Floette, but I think this is probably a matchup where I have to commit because if I lead bad into I think Delphox is most likely going to be the mega choice, but if they go into Floette, this is really tough. Maybe they decide to bring the Delphox, but the Floette as well and not Mega Evolve Delphox. That's also another option they could do. I think I like Bask plus Altaria. I think it plays pretty well for the most part. I think I like Heliolisk, so I have an answer to Bask. Also, Thunderbolt damage is actually pretty good against my opponent's team. The last Pokemon I think is Garchomp, so it can kind of revenge KO stuff with speed. The Scizor was actually nice against Gambit. It's not great in the Aegis Slash. I am bringing Garchomp, so I have a way to threaten Aegis Slash as well. Let's see if I'm right here. Do they bring the Eternal Flood or do they go with the Delphox? Because I think the Delphox is more annoying to play against. Oh, they brought Flood. That's really bad for me. Oh, is this a cook to lead from the start? Maybe. That's what happens when you play too risky. They might actually still have Delphox back. It might be what I thought. Well, I'm gonna have to sack my Basculegion potentially. This is probably Shadow Sneak, Dazzling Gleam. I'd lose on that on the spot, but I don't really have another play. I have to Wave Crash and hope that I can get the Floette. I could Aqua Jet to probably hope for Earthquake range, but that definitely doesn't put in Earthquake range most likely. So we will go for Wave Crash Protect here, hoping for Dazzling Gleam plus Poltergeist. I wanted to be scared of Scarf because I could go for a... I could have went for a Protect Bass Tailwind if I think they're going to Protect fearing Scarf, but they probably are bulky enough to live Wave Crash, I assume, on this team. Fairy Aura. Protect the Altaria. No Protect on Floette. It is Shadow Sneak. I'm assuming this is Shadow Sneak Dazzling Gleam or Shadow Sneak Moonblast. Bass takes a lot. I don't think I can live Dazzle at this range. As I mentioned before. Yeah. Oh. Okay. We have an option. With Shadow Sneak, they should forego Wide Guard. They don't usually carry Wide Guard on these. Do I need Tailwind up? No. So I go out into Garchomp here and I click Earthquake and I think I Wisp the Aegis Slash slot as a King Shield. So I'm going to go for Wisp and I'm going to go for Earthquake. I think that this is actually a good spot. I didn't think the Bass would actually be able to live the Dazzling Gleam, but maybe I just underestimated the Basculegion. I thought I lost on the spot, but you know what? We'll take it. I should have probably brought Scizor, though. I'm just trying to figure out what I even bring Scizor over. Because I still think if it's the Basculegion back, it's so annoying. Okay, they're going to go for Protect King Shield, I assume. This is actually better for me because I get to keep an extra turn of Tailwind by going for the Wisp here. And I went for Wisp to cover for the King Shield so I can preserve my Tailwind turns. But now I can go for Earthquake plus Tailwind now. Because I get the burn on Aegis Slash already, which is nice. Assuming I hit, of course. They don't really have a ground switch without Delphox, so I'm very happy about this turn. We also get a bit of chip damage on Aegis Slash. So you know what? We'll take this. We'll take this. Should have brought Scizor, but you know what? Yeah. Like, you do have to respect both modes. Is it Delphox back? I think it might be Delphox back, but we'll see. Tailwind, Earthquake. They go for a double and get it, but that's all right. It doesn't really change that much for me here. As I go for an Earthquake. Next turn, I'm going to Wisp the Eternal Floette slot. So interesting what their game plan is here, as I will get Tailwind up. All right. Aegis Slash vulnerable. Poltergeist into the Garchomp, but we dodged it with the Garchomp, so if they don't know the item, that helps. But I mean, does it really? Not much. Are they gonna forfeit because they don't have an Earthquake switch? Okay. We get a Wisp off into the Floette slot and a Earthquake. This covers every single switch that they can make. So I don't see why I wouldn't go for it. If they go Bask, Brave Bird might have been better, but I think Wisp still is pretty good there. They go for a triple, fails. They go for Shadow Sneak as well. Okay. I mean, the Garchomp would have been low, but at this point, like, it's still, like, I don't think I'm in a terrible spot. Because if it's Bask endgame, all I have to do is just focus down the other slots. So we do get an Earthquake off. We get the KO on both Aegis Slash and Floette. I assume this is Bask plus the Gambit back. I can Wisp the... I can Wisp either slot. I would probably want to target down the King Gambit more, but the thing is they might protect King Gambit fearing how much they're taking damage from Earthquake wise, so they're probably gonna last respect to protect, so I think I have to whisk the Basculegion first. King Gambit, Basque. But yeah, they didn't bring Delphox. They didn't respect the Scizor, but we'll go for Wisp into the Basculegion and we'll go for the Earthquake here. We still get really good damage with Earthquake if they don't protect, and Earthquake into Aqua Jet could be a thing that could maybe knock out the King Gambit slot, so I think that's a pretty reasonable trade here. They protect Basque. Are they protecting Gambit as well? No, they don't. But here's the thing. Are they kowtowing the Garchomp? Yeah, they take a lot of damage. Wisp. Oh, wait, I have Heliolisk back, so Heliolisk should just win now. They kowtow. They take Rough Skin. I don't know if they're jetting here, but either way, I think my best play is... I don't know if they Sucker Punch. That's the question. I think I just Brave Bird the Gambit Earthquake. I don't know where the attack is going here, but regardless, I think Heliolisk just wins at this point. They Sucker Punch, perfect, so they take the recoil, so they're going for Last Respect into Altaria. That's great. Brave Bird will KO the Gambit, and then it's Heliolisk versus Basculegion 1v1. So I guess it was worth it. It was worth it. I think I had tools to play around the Basque, but yeah, Scizor probably was better than Heliolisk in the if I had like led Scizor and just got Tailwind up so I could Will-o-Wisp safely. But yeah, they do KO'd Altaria, but they're probably hoping for anything but Heliolisk at this point. They're probably hoping for the Scizor, but guess what? I do not have the Scizor. I have brought the Heliolisk. I completely ignored the Float because I was thinking the Delphox would come to respect the Scizor. Also, it's like they're only ground switching too, because they brought nothing to switch into ground types. Like everything on their team was like ground weak. Now we Thunderbolt. And the only way we could lose this is like some random ice move and it freezes me. Because I don't think there's any other way to win. Yep. That's battle gonna be forfeited. You know what? Basculegion is just such a crazy mod. It's such a crazy mod. If we're using it. Alright, we have Eternal Floa, King Gambit, Sneasler, Garchomp, Talonflame, Basculegion. So, 2 Mega Evolutions, Float and Garchomp. Probably always just going to be the Float realistically. Scizor's definitely being brought. We need to enter the Talonflame though. That's good. I think we go with Scizor. Altaria is not a bad lead here. Unless they lead Float plus the Talonflame, then I would probably just want to lead Basculegion. I think I'll lead Basculegion here plus Scizor. Double priority just seems really nice here against my opponent's team in general. Last in the back. I think Heliolisk just so I beat the Basculegion, guaranteed. And then I think Altaria because it's a ground switch into Earthquake, which is solid. And then Wisp is really good into the physical attackers. The things I'm a little bit weak against are like King Gambit. The Sneasler can be annoying. And the Garchomp is concerning if I don't have a burn on it. So there's a lot of Pokemon to respect here. Like a lot of their Pokemon are just scary in general. The Basque is like unironically the easiest because of the mons I'm bringing. But the rest, the Talonflame I have to get rid of for Scizor to be able to do well in this game. The Garchomp is pretty big because if I don't get rid of Garchomp, it has a lot of effective attacks against me. Granted, if I burn it with Altaria, it's like a lot less scary. Same with the Gambit. So let's see what they decide to go here. Float Sneasler. Okay, this works out pretty well for me. Basculegion Scizor in. Unless they Light of Ruin the Basculegion immediately, I don't see a problem going for an Aqua Jet or a Last Respect immediately. Just to get damage off. And probably protect the Scizor. Yeah, I think this is okay. Because right now the Scizor super trending, so is the Basque Legion. The Scizor get access to Quick Guard. It does get access to Upper Hand. Upper Hand could be annoying if it's Upper Hand. If it's Upper Hand, that's really bad. So maybe this is why they let it. Maybe I should have went for Wave Crash into the Float immediately. Let's see. Could be Fake Out turn 1 into like a Gleam into Quick Guard? Or not Quick Guard, Upper Hand. Fake Out comes out first, okay. Light of Ruin. Okay, they did have it. Okay. They do take a lot of recoil. So I do lose Basque, which is not ideal. If this is Upper Hand, I am probably in a really bad spot. I'm going Altaria. And we're just going to see if it's Upper Hand on the Scizor or not. Because I assume this would be attacking Altaria plus a... plus an Upper Hand, but we'll see. We'll play a Mind Game the next turn, I suppose. Yeah, we'll play a Mind Game the next turn. Whether they Upper Hand or not. Because that's like the only reason I really see this lead. I think like Scizor didn't do much against my team otherwise. I'm really weak to like Talonflame and stuff. Maybe I should have just jetted immediately. Jet might have been close into the other slot. Okay, they switch out to Sneasler. Gambit. Okay, that's perfect. That's perfectly fine. They attacked with the Float. They're playing super aggressive with the Float. Gleam? Gleam. Okay, that's not ideal, but it's acceptable. Moonblast would have been better, but I mean, Scizor is still around, which is the important part. Okay, it's not Upper Hand, so that wasn't their plan. Maybe they were bluffing it, but okay. I can burn the Gambit now, and I can Bullet Punch the Float. The Bullet Punch into Protect is super obvious, but the Float does the most damage, and I need Altaria to get a Wisp off in the Gambit, so we always Bullet Punch here regardless into the Float slot. What the last Pokemon is, I don't think it's back Talonflame at this point. They protect us fine. Because I can Tailwind the next turn and Bullet Punch. And they don't really have the best Bullet Punch switching, so it's okay. We do land a Wisp, which is important. So the game is doing a lot less damage to my Scizor. Yeah, they kowtow my Scizor, but this does like nothing. Yep. Now we can get a Tailwind up and Bullet Punch. We could also double up the Float slot with Brave Bird as well, but I don't see why I want to get Tailwind up first. I think Tailwind's just really effective in here. The upcoming turn might be a bit scary, but we'll see. They give me the Float. Beautiful. So Float is gone. Don't have to worry about switching to Gleams anymore. That's a step. We get the Tailwind up with Altaria, so now we're faster with everything than their team. And they're going to go for Kowtow again, which should do 40. They crit me. I'm in range. I'm not in range of Sucker Punch, but I am in range of everything else. Next turn, I have to... Such an annoying crit, man. Basque, okay. I mean, I need a Wisp into the Basque. Probably just protect the Scizor. Because I don't know if they're Jet or not. They probably lock in a Jet. They could protect here as well to scout for it. I don't go down to Sucker, but I will go down to Jet. I could swap the next turn, but we'll see. Yeah, they protect. I could have Bug Bited. That's fine. They probably went for Kowtow again. Okay, we Wisp. Yeah, they went for Kowtow. This might not be that bad. I mean, this obviously was super ideal, but they have to Aqua Jet here. I think I go Heliolisk as they Aqua Jet into the Scizor. And I get Heliolisk in, and then I threaten Focus Blast into the Gambit. That's probably the play here. Because there's no way Sucker Punch KOs the Scizor. Why? Oh, that was such a winning turn. If I hit the Wisp. Is it even winnable at this point? I don't even think it is. This is ridiculous right now. Okay. Let's see. If I Focus Blast a Gambit, it probably doesn't knock out because it's probably Chople. They're gonna protect on this last turn. The backs most likely. Okay, I think I have a line. They're gonna protect Kowtow probably. Because I don't think they want them to get burned or T-bolted here with the Basque. Wait, what? Wait, what? They switched out the Gambit to Sneasler? I guess they want to fake out, but... okay, technically Brave Bird and the Gambit isn't the most obvious play, but risking the Sneasler is insane. They took a lot of damage, okay. I still think I'm super unlikely to win here. Actually... this is so tough, but it's winnable, I suppose. I don't know if this is fake out or not. I think they close combat my Heliolisk because it covers for Scizor and it covers for... It covers a Scizor switch. Because if I switch into Scizor, it could be bad for them. I'm going to ally switch and Brave Bird to Sneasler and hope they close combat. Altaria lives and I KO the Sneasler back. And then last respect, I'm immune to it. That's my hope here. Alright, here's the ally switch. Please close combat and please Altaria live. Oh, they Dire Clawed. Which is still actually okay. Well, actually no, I think this is over. But here's the thing, if I Brave Bird it, it probably doesn't get the Heliolisk. Oh man, I needed to Wisp again the Gambit slot. Or I needed to crit the Sneasler and hope it wasn't Sash. They do have, actually... Is ally switch guaranteed to fail? Huh. We might need a double ally switch. We might need a double ally switch after all that, because we could heal on the Aqua Jet from the Basque Legion. So I'm gonna go for Bullet Punch and swap. It's like my only out here. Also, if Heliolisk gets healing, that's huge. Oh, that's smart. They just double out into the King Gambit. Actually, this is still fine because Focus Blast is still an option that I have here. Oh. And I failed. Oh, wait, no. I got it. Okay. Don't read the double. Please Aqua Jet to Scizor slot. Nice. Nice. Dry Skin. Huge. That's actually really important. That Bullet Punch damage is huge. Okay. Okay. Go my Focus Blast. Go my Focus Blast. And then we play a Mind Game the next turn. Actually, it could be like if the Sneasler is adamant, I outspeed and Fundable KO. So we'll see. Oh my goodness, I get the Focus Blast. It's not Chople? It's not Chople. Okay. Last respect into the Scizor. Wait, I guess they're adamant. Because I mean, they could fake out the Heliolisk and click Aqua Jet, but I think it still comes down to Scizor. That means they're adamant. I cannot believe I won that game. I cannot believe I won that game. After like all the misses, getting the double ally switch, get the recovery, so I'm out of Sucker Punch range from the boosted Supreme Overlord. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe what happened. And also the Brave Bird on the Scizor switch. I was just trying to get damage into Gambit to put in range of Focus Blast through Chople, but I'll take it. Alright, we have Aerodactyl, Charizard, Sylveon, Garchomp, Basculegion, and King Gambit. I mean, the composition seems pretty much the same for my game plan. I just really like the Garchomp Scizor. It just puts on a lot of work against the... Garchomp just puts in a lot of work against the Charizard, especially if they don't have Intimidate. And then Scizor is pretty good against the Steel type, or against as a Steel type against the Sylveon, which is probably the biggest threat to Garchomp. And then I think in the back, I bring Altaria for the Cloud9 as a backup to Charizard, as well as Basculegion that could actually threaten the Charizard, which is huge here. Everything else, Sylveon, it's okay in this matchup. I wouldn't exactly appreciate it. And then Heliolisk is not a bad mon, but it only really does well against the Basculegion. It doesn't do it well into anything else. So I think if I go with the same plan of just trying to get like a Tailwind situation off, I think it's a pretty good spot. So let's see. Charizard, Sylveon, okay. Versus Scizor plus Garchomp. I mean, this play is just Rock Tomb for the Charizard, and I think just Swords Dance with my Scizor, because they're also really weak to Swords Dance Scizor, because Aqua Jet Bullet Punch can threaten the Charizard in the following turns. I guess like if this is the rare Weather Ball Sylveon, I played one Weather Ball Sylveon when I was with Joey, so unless the Sylveon has Weather Ball, I think we're good here for setting up a Swords Dance with Scizor, because Bullet Punch Aqua Jet looks like a lot of pressure into the Charizard slot. Or I could go for, yeah, that's what I would go for. Charizard Retreat Switch is fine. Is this Gambit? That one's a bit scary. That one's a bit scary, because I did give it a boosted attack. I don't know if this is a rematch or not either, so... Because the comp, we played like a few of these already. Rock Tomb, the one time I'd be okay with missing, but alright. Then this is Hyper Voice. As we get Swords Dance up. I mean, I could have attacked the Sylveon aggressively, but I didn't think it was worth it. Ooh, Garchomp lives. So I guess it's worth keeping the Garchomp around. I guess I'm going to go Altaria and maybe Bug Bite the Gambit. I don't know if Bug Bite KOs Gambit. I could Bullet Punch the Sylveon, but I don't think Sylveon has a big threat. And I don't think Gambit's going to click Sucker Punch because I can just Bullet Punch the Sylveon. So I could see Quick Attack from the Sylveon plus a Kowtow. Let's see. Yeah, they did Quick Attack. That's what I thought. I mean, if I Bullet Punch, I probably outsped, but this still works out. Bug Bite. Does this KO Gambit? Nah, barely. Guess a Chople. Kowtow. This is KO. No. Perfect. Okay, I don't mind this spot because I think I can Tailwind with Altaria pretty safely and just protect my Scizor. And then next turn I can go for Bullet Punch Aqua Jet if I have to sack Altaria, which is pretty good for me. So I'll go for this line. Because I always need Scizor to pressure the Sylveon. Or I need Last Respect cleanup, which is also pretty decent. So the reason I'm protecting is to make sure that my Scizor is around this turn, and I don't mind losing Altaria as long as I get Tailwind up, and I should against these slower Pokemon. Sylveon and King Gambit aren't the fastest, so Altaria should outspeed, get the Tailwind up, and then next turn I can go for Bullet Punch into Sylveon, and I don't know if Brave Bird would KO the King Gambit. It could. And yeah, we're scouting for a Protect as well from the Sylveon, so that's why we also go for the Protect as well. As we get the Tailwind up. I guess I could have Brave Birded or whisked the Gambit immediately, but this is okay. They go for Kowtow. Yep, that's not surprising. Into the Scizor. Now we Brave Bird the King Gambit because if it KOs, we're in a commanding position. If it doesn't, not the greatest, but still playable. And then we go for this Brave Bird here into the Gambit. They retreat Sylveon into Charizard Basque. Oh, Garchomp. Ooh. I didn't think it was Garchomp back. That's a bit annoying. Okay. Good damage to Garchomp. Do I lose off this? No, not yet. Citrus Garchomp is hard though. Gray Bird. Just 1%, man. I wish I wisped. I go down to this, right? Yeah. Ah, it's cooked, I think. Maybe I could win. Nah, I think it's super unlikely. No, I could win. It kind of depends on what they do here. I don't know if Gambit's going to attempt to go for a Sucker Punch last ditch effort or not, but I think my only hope is that they give me both Pokemon. So they protect here. Okay, they'll protect. They're stalling out Tailwind turns and scouting for what I'm locking into with Scarf Garchomp. So I'm gonna go for a Breaking Swipe here and a Aqua Jet into the Gambit. I think their best place to go Sylveon for one of the slots. It's either Gambit or Garchomp. So maybe I need to call that. Okay, no, they say I'm at both. Okay, that gives me a chance. That unironically gives me a chance, I suppose. It depends heavily on the Garchomp attack though. Breaking Swipe KOs the Garchomp, single target. I will go down to Rough Skin, but that's alright. I think it's really just super dependent on what the attack is from the Charizard. Because Last Respect is now fully powered up. Tailwind peters out. Oh, wait, no. I thought I had one more turn Tailwind. This is probably over then. I needed to whisk the Gambit that one turn. I was hoping Braver would KO. Or that I wouldn't have been in. I didn't expect Garchomp as the last. What's the out here? Well, I gotta protect this turn probably. Because I get to stall out a turn of Sun and I get to see what the Charizard's locking itself into. But here's the thing, all the moves probably are just going to be able to beat the Basque unless we get like the rare 5 protects. If we get the rare 5 protects, it's probably worth it. Yeah, it's Solar Beam. Okay, I need 5 protects in a row. I think they knew the team immediately. They called it with the Gambit, but unfortunately, like, I didn't know they knew the team. So it always is going to have that dynamic when you use a really well-known team. So unfortunate there. Maybe it was a bit obvious that Charizard could protect or swap, but I still think that I was okay, assuming I was able. I think I needed to Wisp. I think that one turn I should have Wisped with Altaria, because if I had Altaria around, I had more resources to stall out turns, which would have been huge. Especially having Basque Legion next to Altaria, and also Gambit would have been on a timer. Yeah, I mean, we go for 5 protects. It's like my only out. Because if I get 5 protects, then I can get a Last Respect into Sylveon. But yeah, ends on 3. Oh. Yeah. I needed to Wisp that one turn. I lived? Wait. No, Charizard was at full HP, right? I guess, like, here's the thing. If I went for Last Respect into Sylveon, this turn, got a double protect the next turn, then I can Aqua Jet crit to Charizard to win. I guess that would be my out, but super unlikely still. So how was the team? I don't think it's the greatest team, mainly because it does lack a little bit of speed at times other than having the tail and speed control, so the initial speed isn't that great other than Garchomp. You also have a lot of monsters that do get hit by just very effective 4x coverage, but across the board, like, I think Altaria actually did impress me. Like, it was able to take attacks pretty well. The Wisp was nice. When we landed, we missed a few Wisps, but you know, it's just what happens with the moves. But I feel like I missed more Will-o-Wisp with Altaria than I have with any of the Rotom forms in this so far. So yeah, Altaria definitely has let me down quite a bit in that regard. But otherwise, like, Wisp is solid. I don't think Brave Bird's as necessary, but I do think that the Tailwind Wisp Altaria set was actually really nice, and the Cloud9 is such a great ability, as I said before, in this format. Just to be able to reduce the damage output of those Weathermons especially is great. And then you also have, like, again, Mega Scizor, which was pretty dominant, and I can see why they decide to have Mega Scizor as a secondary Mega, especially against the Floa teams that don't run a fire type, because man, Mega Scizor does so much damage to Snaros. Also, the Heliolisk option was kind of cool because I actually didn't really remember it got Ally Switch, but Ally Switch is an option, and Sylveon was able to hit pretty hard. I do think the team does have some weaknesses though. I do think that our Chaladon is a little bit scary to deal with, just because even though it can't go for electric shots when Altaria's up, I mean, it still gets threatened by Dragon Pulse, which isn't that great. And also, the only way you really hit it, if it gets a defense boost or two, is going to be the Heliolisk. So that's a little bit scary. I do think that was going to be one of the rougher matchups. And then there's some speed control options that can be a little bit annoying, like playing around Trick Room is still not the easiest for this team. However, I do think it was a really fun construction. If you do want to try out the team, you could try it out with the replica code right here, and you could go check out the details of the team in the creator down below the description. And of course, subscribe to the channel for more VGC content as always. Why don't you check out the most recent videos where we've been showcasing a lot of new Mega Evolutions? For instance, the recent video with Mega Chimecha, where we reached top 20 on the ladder with it.